日昼寝から起きて川屋行ったら股に変なもんがぶら下がってて、でも心配ないある。もう取ったから。取ったぞー。取ったって何？父のせい、母の血、つるべからざるなり。どんな加工丼？食べた？ひょっとして食べた？行くぞ、関と渡る。
Hey everybody, welcome back to the podcast, another episode of Gintama, and we're finishing up the last chapters that I didn't read from the previous episode. So today we're doing chapters 424 to 449. We're getting closer to 500, man. I can't believe. Yeah, this chunk.
Chapters away.
Yeah, this chunk was during the 8th and 9th year of serialization, that's crazy to think about. Yes, but yeah, we're back. And we teased it last episode, but this is the arc with the parody of Parasite, where it stars the katana Kusanagi of planet Excalibur.
Oh man, this one was a funny one watching this.
Oh, I bet it was. Yeah. How was Kusanagi's voice? Was it kind of high pitched?
See, I watched the sub. Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Pitch. I want to say like alto.
Yeah, okay, because if anything, he would probably be parodying Migi from Parasite. That's the main Parasite in that series. And in the anime, he has a high-pitched voice as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so...
Oh, you mean the sword?
Yeah, the sword, yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant the, what is it, the armorer, the female armorer, I forget her name, with the blue hair.
Oh, the blacksmith, no.
Yeah, the blacksmith. No, actually, complete opposite. Lower voice.
Oh, really?
And instead of a hand, he's an eyeball on, like, the hilt of the... Not the hilt, the butt of the sword.
Yeah. But yeah, so he kind of explains what they are, and it's very much like Parasite, they go to other planets, but instead of taking over the planets or whatever they do in there, they transform themselves into various types of weapons that's used in the wars. And they wound up on Earth, and he's a katana, and he's looking for his wife, Sayako, who is his sheath, right? And one of the panels is just literally just them basically having sex, where he's like sliding in and out of the sheath. It's ridiculous.
Turns out though that he's not the only one.
No, he's not the only one here. And because he has no sheath, he needs somewhere to go. So he decides to stay in Gintama's ass, which is just ridiculous.
Gintama's whole body is a sheath.
Yeah, he's like, could you let me borrow this for a little while? And it's like, what the hell are you talking about? So they agree to help him try to find his wife, Sayako. So they're looking for these scarabs, and then he's vibrating, which is just as well as Parasite. That means there's somebody nearby. Yeah,
so he vibrates, and then he finds out that that there's another sword like him.
Yeah, what are they called? Excaliburian is what they're called.
I think so.
Yeah.
But this dude, this evil sword is known for eating other swords.
Yeah, as we find out later, everything it's very like super cliche anime type thing. Well, Gintoki gets arrested. Kusanagi looks at Sogo's sheath. That's it. That's my wife. That's Sayako. It has to be.
Sogo's.
Yeah, it's Sogo's sheath, yeah. And while this is happening, the Shinsengumi are also investigating these murders of samurais, and they notice that the sword, all the swords are being chewed up, it looks like they're all broken and everything. And they have a good idea of who it is. It's this old samurai named Hirokiri Senbei. That's the guy that they're trying to find, with a jet black katana.
It's a long-ass Japanese name.
Oh, you want to talk about long Japanese names, man. Look up the mangaka for Toriko. His name his last name is Shimabukuro.
Mitsutoshi Shimabukuro, yeah.
Yeah, see? Look at that. Yeah, Gintoki gets arrested. They're back at the Shinsengumi place. Kusanagi's trying to talk to the scarab, and it's just like, she finally opens her eye, and it's like, who the heck are you? And, of course, it's a female character with Sogo, so you know what happens is this whole,
Major sub.
Yeah, huge.
Sub energy. It's ridiculous how a talking goddamn sword sheath becomes a sub.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. And yeah, so she doesn't remember who Kusanagi is, and he was just like, I can't accept this, like, what's going on, you know? And he starts, he goes back into Gintoki, and he's like, you were just out of my asshole, bro, what the fuck? And so Gintoki decides to attack, Sogo, you know, and so they decide to have, like, a fight. You know, it's like, let's see which sword is better fit for that scarab, basically. So Gintoki challenges him to a duel. And, you know, we all know how strong Sogo is and how strong Gintoki is. So this is going to be a crazy fight.
That's why I like the title of the chapter, Sadist versus Sadist. I love how, like, when they duel, I don't know if I'm going ahead here, they meet up and they're like, Gintoki, where's my sword? Oh, you mean my alien slayer? And it's just the sword from Berserk? Yeah,
they parody Berserk, and then they parody Final Fantasy.
They parody Final Fantasy and Berserk in the same page.
Yeah, because they're like, hey, bro, that's a little too edge, trying to be Guts. And it's like, oh, yeah, throw this wig on, you should be Cloud instead. And it's like, what?
If I've never, like, they always reference something, but that was like, how they reference two things in one page, from one panel to the next, gets to me.
So Kusanagi, he doesn't feel confident because he's a dull blade, you know? He hasn't been a sheathen forever or whatever.
He's dull.
Yeah, it's sort of, ED basically for them.
Ass, like, that's why.
Yeah. So the blacksmith decides like, oh, don't worry, you know, I'm pretty confident in my skills. I'll help you out, make you sharp again. And with one hit of the hammer, Kusanagi breaks in half. Like the blade is just destroyed. And, there's no way I could fix this. And so while this is happening, Sogo's walking around, and who shows up but Manslayer Senbei. And so as they're talking, it's revealed that Senbei is no longer in control. It's actually this evil sword, this demon sword, Maganagi, he's being used by the sword, basically.
That's the sword that ate other swords.
Yes.
The cannibal sword.
Basically that's how, like, he gotten so strong. And that's why he's, like, formidable, and that's why Kusanagi's scared of him. But he's no match for Sogo, as he takes him out in one hit. And then, yes, we get to the, Alien Slayer sword. Yeah.
And then they have that duel.
Yeah, so they're about to do the sword fight, and then Sogo's like, well, I got this new sword, so, this is gonna be cool. And it's like, wait, is that the demon sword Maganagi? What the fuck? Like, we have to fight him now? And then Kusanagi reveals that, like, oh, this is like some sort of evil fate, cruel fate, you know, because I originally stole my wife from Maganagi, and it's just like, okay. And then, so they're about to start their duel, but they keep picking up shit with their swords, some kind of like Dr. Slump jokes or something.
And then the fucking Gintoki, or was it Gintoki or Sogo just throws one at Hijikata's face?
It was Sogo, probably. Yeah. And so they start flinging shit around, and then they actually start getting into the fight. Gintoki's doing a two-sword style because Kusanagi had to become a short sword. Yeah,
and then what's funny was he's about to hit Sogo, and then he goes flaccid.
Oh, yeah. He has, like, ED.
That sword have goddamn erectile dysfunction.
Yeah, and it gets like really over the top. Maganagi starts to take over Sogo, you know, and so they start fighting, and then it's revealed like, oh, that's Kusanagi, that's not your wife, Sayako, that's actually yours and Sayako's daughter. Oh, what's
Saya.
That? Yeah, Saya. Yeah. It's like, that's why she looks like the same. And then it gets into this like short backstory, and it's just like, we're talking about swords and sheaths. Like, what are we talking about, guys?
Then Kusanagi starts slowing, like, disappearing.
Yeah, he starts dissolving, and then Sogo takes over his body, fights Gintoki. One more time. It's implied that Sogo let Gintoki win this duel, so Magani could be defeated. Yeah, Kusanagi passes away, turns into dust. Sogo leaves behind his the scarab Saya to the blacksmith as she is trying to create a new sword using the remainders of Kusanagi so that he could be reunited with his daughter. Yeah, so that was that arc. It was interesting to say the least.
It was like 6 chapters.
Yeah, it was 6 chapters, huh? That's crazy. So the next chapter was just a one-off of them promoting the new PSP game that's coming out.
Oh, the Tales of game?
Yeah, it was Gintama Soguroku was coming out. And they're just like, this is a pretty boring type of game. We need to spice it up. Okay. Yeah, so they go to Tama, and they infiltrate the building of Bandai Namco. And so they get into hacking the game, and it's just like, well, we really gotta spruce up this game. And yeah, so that's why they add the Tales of Gintama on there, and just like, wait, you can't just slap that on, implying like this is part of this long-running series of a game.
Yeah, and then what's funny is that, like, later on, that you have all these RPG mechanics, like fucking Hasegawa's like a monster and shit.
Yeah.
Fucking, what's her name? The bar owner.
Oh, yeah, she's in here too.
At the end, the game becomes a crossover. It's Tales of Biohazard, and they call it Madao Hazard.
Yeah. Yeah, it just gets pretty ridiculous. Yeah, Biohazard, and yeah, and then eventually it's Tales of the Super Madao Brothers. It turns into towards the end.
Oh yeah, dude, that's us.
Yeah, us energy right there.
I love the M and the S on the hat.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because earlier they were just like, yeah, you have to choose, are you an M or an S? And it's like, wait, what kind of game is this again? Yeah, so that was a quick one-off just to promote the new game coming out, yeah, which is very Gintama anyways, so it fits pretty good.
Oh, the ramen one, the next chapter.
Yeah, was this a one? This was not a one-off.
I think it wasn't 2 chapters.
How was it in the anime?
I think it was, if it's a one-off chapter like that, they usually bundle it as like, so like a one-off would be like 13 minutes, and the other one-off would complete the half of the episode. So it's like watching 2 episodes in one.
Yeah, no, this wanted for like 3 chapters. Yeah, this was a pretty good, pretty sizable arc. I actually like this was an interesting arc too. So we see the return of Ikumatsu. If you don't remember, she is the ramen owner of this restaurant.
She only appeared like one other time before it too.
Yeah, the last time she showed up it's all focused on Katsura. And I guess this was around New Year's or something, because they're talking about New Year's is coming up.
Yeah.
And her husband had this tradition of this old man would come, ask for a bowl of ramen, but there'd be too much ramen in his bowl. He's like, I can't finish it all. Would you like to split it with me? So they would grab 2 bowls and they would all sit down and eat. Her husband said, like, yeah, why don't we make this a yearly tradition to end the year? You know, even if anything happens to me, make sure you keep doing it. But once he passed away, the old man never came back. And, you know, she's telling this lovely story. And of course, we see the Yorozua there, the broke fam. And, they're all fighting over one bowl. And of course, Katsura's there because, you know, this is Katsura's spot, his waifu, basically. Yeah. And even Gintoki, brings it up about him. He's like, hey, yeah, so you and Ikumatsu, huh? Did you guys, you know, and then, you know, it's all censored, of course, in the, yeah. And, you know, and then Katsura is, you know, he's just like, of course not, you know, this and that. It's like Gintoki being Gintoki. He's like, oh, come on, man. I know you're a player. You've been doing this and that, buddy. And he's like, no, there's, and then, you know, it starts, he does get that realization. He's like, I have no rival of love because there's only one man for her eyes. And then it cuts to them, Katsura decided, like, I'm gonna look for this old man, you know, who is probably homeless, and I'm gonna bring her back.
What does he do? Disguise himself as a homeless person.
Yeah, even Gintoki rocks one too, and so they go to this homeless community at a park, and then who do we see? It's like, oh, it's Kami-sama, and like Kami-sama, and they look, and it's Hasegawa.
Yeah, the holy Madao.
The holy Madao next to the recurring homeless character, that we've seen multiple times in the series, standing right next to him.
The swirly glasses.
Yeah, before he would always just like not really talk, just be kind of a crazy homeless guy. But here we actually get him talking, and Hasegawa's whispering to him, like, oh, this is the word of God, basically, you know?
Madao. The prophet Madao.
And so, yeah, so the gag is, you know, like, they wear boxes, because that's what they live in, you know, cardboard boxes. And then here comes an enemy homeless faction, which is a thing, I guess.
The Homeless Wars.
The Homeless Wars, and they're wearing their boxes like armor. It turns out Ikumatsu's not the only recurring character. It is also, what the hell is this guy's name? I don't remember his name, but this was the brother of her late husband, who was the antagonist in the previous arc with Ikumatsu. So he's back, but now he's homeless as well. And he's actually been looking for the homeless guy as well, to, I guess, get revenge or something. He's looking for him as well. So now they're at a race of trying to figure out who this is, and the only clue they have was this scarf. And it's just like, oh, but this scarf, you know, came from the specific store. It has a family crest on there, and they're trying to figure out who it is. It's like, oh, actually, yeah, it's, this guy died around 20 years ago. He owned this, and he only had one daughter. And it turns out that the daughter is Ikumatsu, who owned this, you know, with the scarf. And then she talks about, like, yeah, I didn't want to mention I'm from this, like, high-end family. That's just not really who I am, kind of thing. But eventually that guy ran away from home, started another family or something.
It's not a backstory for homeless people.
Well, I mean, it's not just homeless people. It's about the main point is Ikumatsu's story in here.
Yeah.
The homeless stuff is just the comedy that Gintama is. Yeah, like these guys just look like samurais, but they're just wearing cardboard boxes. And it turns out, and as we find out later, they tie up Hasegawa in a crucifix fashion. And it turns out that he is not Kami-sama, but is actually the recurring homeless character that we always see. The one not wearing pants with the tracksuit.
That was at the end though. It was like a wholesome arc. Despite all the homeless.
Oh yeah, so they're traveling underground near like the sewage areas as it will. Yeah, they're just trying to find his dad, and they're telling us a backstory about him, and it's just like, yeah, the problem with him is that his memory was deteriorating when they finally found him again. And while all this is going on, this old man is sharing food, and so they figure like, oh, so this old homeless guy is Ikumatsu's dad. You know, that's what it's implying, and so he even starts wearing the scarf, so that way he looks like in the flashbacks. And the whole time, Ikumatsu's ex-brother-in-law sends a raid of homeless people to attack the shop. And then yeah, the classic Gintama humor as they're fighting the homeless Gintokis using the old man, and then Katsura's using Hasegawa's weapons.
Hasegawa always gets the short end of the stick.
Hasegawa is such a weird character to see, because it's just like, the gag is that his life is very shitty, or that he hates his life,
like
or
no
like
redemption,
something.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Or both.
Or all this stuff going on, yeah. So yeah, things escalate, you know, and one thing leads to another. Ikumatsu's being chased by the homeless people, and she jumps into the river, and who saves her but the homeless guy who we believe is her dad, while she's holding on to the bowl of ramen he was going to give her. He disappeared along with the bowl of ramen. You know, we end the arc with Katsura talking to her back at the ramen shop. You know, they're having this whole thing about like her dad, and that they lost, or like, you know, like we still never figured out who her dad really was or whatever. It turns out it wasn't the homeless guy. But it ends on another wholesome note as Katsura leaves. A man in a wheelchair wearing the scarf on his head comes in, and turns out that is her father. Ikumatsu has become great friends with Yorozuwa and Katsura, so instead of just 2 small bowls next to the bowl of ramen, there's actually 5, implying that they will all eat together. Yeah, he could get wholesome when he wants to, this Sriracha guy.
Yeah, but then the next chapter.
And then the next chapter. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's winter time, so it's time to change up the fashion. And so we see Otei-chan and Shinpachi shopping. And yeah, if you may not notice, but yeah, every now and then Shinpachi did change his clothing for a while.
Gintoki has the same no matter what. They're like, oh, I wonder what new clothes I'm gonna get. That's just the same one, just more fresh.
Yeah, so then they see Gintoki in the fashion district. Like, what? He's actually gonna buy new clothes? And he walks to the shop where it seems like he's a usual customer. And why is that? Well, the shop has nothing but Gintoki outfits.
Oh, yeah.
And the shop owner's just like, no, this has a different kind of feel to it, you know? And it turns out that this outfit are school jerseys for soccer for some alien planet.
Oh, for Gintoki's?
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
then if you look closely, like the one Gintoki just tried out, it says 3rd year on it, you know, for high school.
Uh-huh.
Because, you know, high schools only have 3 years, so it's a senior outfit. And then they see Kagura, and she's there shopping for those little things she wears on her head, or on her hair.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, those, I forget what they're called.
Like hair ornaments, basically. Like, it's the Chinese type of thing. But it turns out they're not hair ornaments.
They're what you put on a horn.
Yeah, that kind of horn. Yeah, they're Zunburen loincloths, as they're called.
And wasn't Shinpachi trying to tell him, like, hey, you guys should pick something different? They try to go with a different style, so he's just wearing a fucking balaclava and the underwear.
Eventually it becomes that, yeah.
Yeah, and then Kagura turns it into, like, hentai common.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they actually start making fun of Gintoki at this point. And he was like, wait a minute, aren't you cold in the winter? And, like, why are you wearing a short sleeve shirt? And why is half of your kimono, like, on your waist? And he's like, you know, I'm not really that cold, guys. I just like wearing it like this, you know? Start giving him shit like, man, look at this fucking weeb, you know? And it's like, oh, look, here's the long version of Gintoki's shirt, but then he just rips it in half, and he's like, I don't know, it just feels natural.
But Oh man, I like towards the end of that little arc, you see Shinpachi come out with the drip.
Yeah, he's like, hey, what do you guys think?
They're like, yo.
It's like,
someone get a towel, he dripping.
Yeah. That was a pretty mellow one-off right here. And then the next one-off was just starring the Shinsengumi and the leader of the Mimiura Gumi? Is that what they're called?
Miwarami Magumi or whatever. The white Shinsengumi.
Yeah, the Mimawari Gumi. Yeah, so they're
Mimawari.
Yeah. So they're all having like this meeting where the police chief is giving this lecture, and all of our main characters are in the back, and they're just they're all just talking shit to each other. And police chief was like, you know what, guys, were you guys even paying attention? It's like, oh yeah, we were. And it's like, oh, so we're gonna use what you learned right now in this lecture, and we're gonna do this VR training basically. And then it becomes this whole investigation of an old Japanese tale of Momotarou.
Oh, yeah, that is a big Japanese fable.
Yeah, the boy inside the giant peach kind of thing. James and the Giant Peach, I think it was called here in the West.
James and the Giant Peach? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's the same story.
But this dude ate his animals.
Yeah, so they're trying to figure out what's been going on, and they keep one-upping each other. And then, like, it just gets really ridiculous. And Hijikata thinks he got it down, but it turns out they were all wrong, and this is not Momotarou. This is the boss of the Onigashima that ate Momotarou's crew whole and just looks like him. And then, like, what was the thing that killed him? A brain tumor. And that's
not even the animals that he ate, the brain tumor.
Yeah, nothing ridiculous, just, oh yeah, that it just happened. It's like, what? So the next arc was, I would say adds more lore into the series. This is
Kabuki one.
Yeah, this is about Kabukichou neighborhood. They're ranked as the worst level of public order.
They try to come up with a mascot.
Yeah, so it's just like, okay, we need a plan to basically make this place better. So now we're gonna have the new generation of leading this neighborhood. I think what were they called? The four divas is what they were called. So if you don't remember, it was Otose, and it was the Okamis, or the Okamas, and then Saigo, right, during that whole last big major arc. So it was Otose, it was Mama of the Okamas, it was Saigo, and it was Kata, if you guys remember that big arc that happened 2 episodes ago. And so now here we are with the new generation. It's just this Okama with a really large chin taking over for Mama, and then we have I forget this guy's name, but he's been a recurring character. He's this gangster with a scar on his face, and his whole thing is the golden ratio. If he borrows 3, he gives back 7, perfectly balanced,
as all things should be.
I don't think his name's gonna pop up in this. It's also implied that Gintoki is taking over Otose's spot. I guess because, he just lives there and knows her dead or something. But he got beat up by the newcomer who would, I guess, take over Kata's spot. And who is it? But yes, Otose. Or Otai-chan. And
this wasn't my favorite episode.
Yeah, no, this was just a weird one. It feels very filler. And man, they pull some goddamn like Japanese references. And it's just like of actors. I think at one point one of the translators notes like, yeah, I have no idea what they're talking about.
I love translator notes like that. Just like, I have no idea who this is. Figure it out yourself.
So yeah, it's just a weird one. It basically they're like, okay, yeah, let's make a mascot like you said, and they're trying to come up with ideas, but they were all bad. And this Yakuza guy was just like, yeah, no, there's no point in doing this. Tei-chan sent some packages and a note, and he's just like, okay, that's fine. We'll go sell these around. But then as he opens the box and looks, and they're already selling them at this point. It's a stuffed bear, but it's being hung by some rope, and they're like, what the hell is this? It's like, what? It's a cell phone strap. It's like, no, that's not a cell phone strap. And then the cops showed up, and they're just like, hey, you guys been selling these without permission? And like that was
for copyright.
Yeah, and it was a ploy for no, not for copyright, but it was just like, they're hanging bears, bears being hanged. That's no bueno.
Oh yeah.
And like that was a ploy for Tei-chan, so that way she could she could change Kabukichou without any problem. Yeah.
I feel like that's like some caveman right there. Ooga booga.
Ooga booga. Yeah. So the next arc coming into this issue that it came out in, I think announced the date for the one of the Gintama movies coming out.
Oh, that was the second one.
Yes.
That was like 2013, man.
Man, that was six years ago, huh?
This arc though was really good. The arc you're about to talk about, it is Rule 63, the arc. That's what it is.
Yeah, this was an interesting one, because as much as humorous it could have been, it went more of a story route with starring our main character Kyubi.
I want to say it's a really good fan service arc.
It's a good character progression arc for her as a character, because I mean the last real serious arc we got with her was, I guess, her debut arc, right when they went to go challenge her at the Yagyu castle or wherever that was at, and yeah, she's only showed up here and there for parody's sake. Yeah, so that's the main reason I like this one, was we got some good character art progression for her. Excuse me, as she's walking around town, there's a fortune teller talking to her. And it's like, well, and she's like, yeah, no thanks, but, and the fortune teller's like, well, you're lost, aren't you? You don't know whether or not you're a man or a woman, basically, what type of life you should lead, so that gets her intrigued, so they start talking, and then a flash of light from the space god Dekoboko-sama flashes on God, I can't say this fucking name, Kabukichou. Everybody in town gets Genderbent, as you said, Grant. The chapter title for this was 9 + 1 = Yagyu Jubei. As Kyubei started to name herself, as he's now a man.
Also the word Q in Japanese means 10.
Q is 9. Ju is 10.
Oh, okay, that's right.
Yeah.
All right, whoops. I got my Jews and Qs mixed up.
And yeah, the reason why it's called 9 + 1 is because her name is Q, which is a 9, but now she has an extra 1 on her body.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then we see Gintoki, which to my surprise, I thought would look more like Paco. You know how Gintoki has his hair as Paco, but instead we get this short haircut for him.
I'm just gonna call him they.
Gintoki.
Do you think Gintoki looks like Ketsuo Anna? The weather lady?
I mean, a little bit. She has more. Her hair is long, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
God, her name Ketsuno Anna just still cracks me up. Oh no, she has a shorter hair. Yeah, I think it's just his art style with the face.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Gintoki actually looks like the main chick from Sket Dance. Actually,
you see that not only just Gintoki changes, but Kagura changes.
Yeah, everybody changes. We get a look at it. Kagura just looks like Reinhardt, basically, from Overwatch.
Oh my god, she does! You're right! I didn't realize that.
And it's like, who the hell is that? Like, it's me, Kagura. It's like, why did you become an old man? And it's all parody, as we also see Sadaharu changed into a horse.
Shinpachi's glasses only turned pink, that was it.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Yeah, for Kagura, it's like this whole Romance of the Three Kingdoms parody for her, as well with Sadaharu. Yeah, Japan decides to seal off the city because they don't know what's going on. So everybody's sealed inside, everybody's Genderbent. And even
Tai-chan doesn't change at all, right?
No, yeah, Tai-chan comes back, and as we see her come back, she's like, oh yeah, it turns out that she was, well, the parody was, the joke that Gintoki made was just like, well, I mean, she was already flat, so maybe they mistook, this for that or whatever, And it's like, no, she just wasn't in the area when it happened.
Gotcha.
And then, yeah, Kagura just, this whole time, she keeps talking about the Romance of the Three Kingdoms.
My favorite part of the Three Kingdoms was Eichenwald.
Yeah.
During the Omnic Crisis.
Yeah, so we get some info about this fortune teller. It turns out this fortune teller was part of this alien cultist group, and they do this thing called Bokoism. They're hermaphrodites, and they believe that one gender should act a certain way, and if they see a place where it's kind of out of line, they just swap the genders for them until they learn their lesson. And so now, again, it gets to the question with Gintoki. He's like, wait, how do I pee?
Yeah, how do I pee? He's like, who cares?
Yeah, and it's just like, just do it normally. What does that even mean, normally? And then here comes this lady, this long blonde hair lady. She's like, oh yeah, I can show you. And takes Gintoki outside, and it's like, oh yeah, I usually do it over here, like in an alleyway.
Yeah, and guess who that was? That was goddamn Kondo.
Yeah. And Otai-chan's pissed because not only was it Kondo, but both Kondo and Gintoki have larger breasts than her. And she's not acting womanly, and the siren goes off, heretic discovered, and all the cultist people show up. And before anything happens, the Shinsengumi show up, but now they're called the Mansengumi.
This is man as in Monko, as in vagina.
Yes. And as we see leading them, it is Sogo, who also has a larger cup size than Tai-chan.
Matrix at this point.
Yeah. And then we finally see Hijikata, which is just... he's fat. He turns...
Why does he look like Penguin from the 80s Batman movie?
Oh, gee, he really does. And then Otai-chan just says, oh, thank you. And it's like, what the hell do you mean, thank you? And it's like, oh, why is Hijikata like this? Oh, you see all that mayonnaise he's been eating, all those calories finally caught up to him when he transformed.
That's great.
Oh, yeah. So he's the gag character this time around, which is hilarious. So they all come up with a plan to hack.
Is Kondo the hottest looking one?
Yeah, Kondo's the hottest looking one. Yeah. So their plan is to hijack all the security cameras in the city and basically go defeat these aliens, cultists, steal their satellite, and change everyone back to normal. And so while they're doing this, they're going around town trying to do everything, and everybody's trying to act normal. As they think.
Cook Hijikata like a pig.
Yeah, the running gag with that. And one of the things going on right now, actually, with Kyubei, now known as Jubei, Tai-chan is actually getting a little flustered because it's like, yeah, I can't believe like that's really you, this handsome man, this and that. And we know from before that Kyubei always had feelings for Tai-chan, but now it can be a reality. And then, as things are getting a little heated in the moment, Shinpachi and God, I can never remember this guy's name.
The spy?
No, not the spy. What the hell is his name? Oh, Ayumu shows up to interrupt this nice moment because they both are just like, yeah, no, we're not doing this. And during this whole time, Gintoki and Hijikata, they're trying to act normal while they're trying to hack into the satellites or into the security cameras, and so they're just fed up with everybody rejecting them. So they hit on these two guys, and they're just these two guys are just like, oh, we're disgusted that we're disgusted by the fact that like men are just pigs, and they turn around like we're disappointed in you guys, and they turn around, and who is it but Tsukuyo and Sarutobi are Genderbent.
That kind of threw me off guard too. I was like, oh shit. Okay, they actually look really cool though.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, they'd be looking kind of fresh though. Yo, there's a panel and he just says us.
Us boys.
Boys. Yes.
Yeah. And so the ladies that have become the guys, as we see with Tsukuyo with all the female ninjas, they all look like super hardened. They easily took over the alien cultist part. And there's even a shot where it says we are the men of this planet, and it's with Kyubei, Sakchan, Tsukuyo, and then Kagura in the background, and they're just easily defeating everybody, and they're just like, what's up with them? Why are they looking cooler than us? And then they did everything without a problem.
Dude, the boys. That's the boy.
Yeah, the boys out here.
With the horse.
Yeah, even with Sadaharu as a horse. So they finally invade, and they think they won, but they're missing somebody. The Archbishop, the main person. And it turns out this was the person that was talking to Kyubei in the beginning, the fortune teller. She starts going off of this monologue, and it turns out like this was all a test that they passed. And it's like, oh yeah, God will honor its promise, and shoots the laser down onto the city. So everybody turns back to normal. But because everybody was underground, they did not change back to normal.
Oh.
And they're like, wait, hold on, like shoot that thing one more time, and then it's like, oh wait, nope. Everybody successfully destroyed the satellite, and it's like, oh, well now they're stuck as the opposite genders, and then it's like, yep, and it keeps going into the next chapter here. More focus on now Jubei,
and also going a little bit ahead. I like how Kondo's new name is Goriko.
Oh yeah, Goriko, yeah. Yeah.
If you boys don't stop by, you might get arrested. You guys are the ones that should be arrested.
Yeah, so Jubei is catching us up on what everybody else is doing. Shinpachi's training the homeless people at the dojo still. He's more focused on that. Kagura sets out to go do the Three Kingdoms stuff that's going on.
Okita becomes what I said, a dominatrix.
Yes, of course. Yeah, with Sakchan teaching him or teaching her, whatever it is.
And I think Tsukuyo becomes like a club owner for male escorts.
No, Tsukuyo just looks like that. She's just dressed like that. But basically they're starting to expand into Kabukichou as well. So eventually they'll take over Edo's nightlife. Yeah. And so it's just like, yeah, everybody's, adjusting fine, and they're all worried about Kyubei, and Kyubei feels guilty about it, of what's going on, because the whole time, like, she's acting selfish because now she could finally live the life of a man with Taichan. That's what she's always wanted. And eventually Gintoki helps her convince her that, like, whatever Gintoki says, and it's just like, well, actually, you didn't drop a movie ticket. Here's a ticket for a spaceship going to this planet where this cultist group is actually attacking, and so they go there, and they all get switched back to their genders and defeat the alien cultists. And I'm not gonna lie, I thought for a moment that Kyubei was gonna stay a guy for the rest of the series.
She decided not to.
But yeah, there was a time where I was just like, maybe they're gonna do that. It would have been interesting, but no, it was some good. It was a good
what if arc.
Well, good character progression for Kyubei. It was pretty good stuff. Not to say for this next chapter though, I wasn't a big fan of this one off right here. It's the return of Sachi. If you remember, he is the prisoner who's the artist for.
Oh yeah.
For Akurogi Musai.
The fencing manga.
Yeah, they did the fencing manga last time. We talked about in the last episode.
You gotta give Gintoki credit. A manga creating a manga about fencing. I've never really seen a fencing manga before until Gintama made one.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool.
I wish that was a real thing. Oh no, he did his ultimate, a double Pierrot.
Yeah. So this time around, Jump actually contacted them, and they're gonna make their Jump debut. And it's like, really? It's like, yeah, so it turns out Gintama's going on hiatus because the gorilla author ran away into the forest. So I guess that means Gintama was going on hiatus at some point or something. Because Gintamon is Gintama. And so they're just like, all right, so it's time to make a new manga, but we have to submit it tomorrow. And it's like, that's impossible. It's like, don't worry, I have the ultimate manga assistant army. The Akurogi group. And he's like, the Akurogi group? What?
3 insane criminals.
Yeah, so Sachi's staying up late at night, and he's like, there's no way I'm going to finish it in the morning. And that's when Gintoki shows up with the 3 new assistants who are all prisoners, and they all had one thing in common, their fetish for panties.
Yeah, and one of them's a slasher. One of them paints with his, like, mouth as a ball gag.
Yeah.
Or his ball gag, I mean.
And the other one just steals them. Yeah, so they're the assistants now, and, like, they have no idea how to do this. They're just getting worse and worse. And even Gintoki fucks up, spills some ink on the main character's face and tries to do whiteout on it, and it just looks really shitty.
And then he's just like, at the end, it's like, we didn't even give her a face. There was just a speech bubble.
Well, at first, what they drew over, when they were inking the art, the old man drew panties on her head, and it's just like, somebody was like, that's incorrect. And it's like, obviously they should be frilly panties. And it's like, no, you're dumbass. And the guy with the paintbrush is like, you're both fools. You guys forgot the panty stains.
The panty stains.
Yeah. And then while this happened, Sachi, he's exhausted, so he fell asleep. And Gintoki took this opportunity to finish everything, wrap it in an envelope, and just say like, "Oh yeah, don't worry, it's done." And then when the editor went to go visit Sachi, and it's just like, yeah, so the last 4 pages, the main character just doesn't have a face. The heroine doesn't have a face because it's like, oh, they had to cover those drawings with the speech bubbles.
Yeah, that was an okay arc, I guess.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan. I much preferred the previous one, where he was trying to confess to the nurse.
Yeah, I didn't like the first one also, where it's just making everyone have like big ass shoulder blades.
Yeah, that one was great too.
Shoulder pads. The one after this, there's a bunch of one-offs that you read.
Yeah, a lot of one-offs. I like this one.
I liked it too, actually. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it stars Seita, basically in school. If you remember last time we talked about his arc in the last episode, he had to learn some history because he was going to school, and now this is a continuation of that. But to my surprise, Gintoki wasn't in here. I thought he was going to show up because the main problem here is that he's not really making friends at school, and it's like, well, what's the problem? You know, what's going on? He's always running away during lunch, and it turns out that his mom keeps making these oversized boxes of bento, and it's just like, yeah, he wants to be a normal kid. That's not a normal sized meal. And it's like, all right, Tsukio, why don't you try to make it? And she's like, fine. So she makes like onigiris, but they're shaped like kunais. And it's like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. And as Seita bites into one, it turns out there's actually a kunai in there. Yeah, so the whole point of this chapter was just like all the women characters were turned to make food. And then, yeah, Sakchan tries to make one, but it gets a little too real because leaves a note in there about their parents splitting, you know. And then the next one, I don't think you know this one, Grant, but yeah, this is a reference to Toriko. As the
monster?
Yeah, Kyubei sees sends the Balala crocodile, and it's capture level 8. This is like one of the first things that Toriko fought in his manga, which it wasn't around this time, but yeah. I thought that was funny, seeing that there. They failed, and then Tai-chan tried making one, but there was nothing in there, and this whole time, there's this girl talking to Seita, trying to, you know, convince her that, like, you know, hey, you know, my mom actually made it an extra bento box. Why don't you, you can have this one. It's like, no, don't worry, I have a normal one, and it's empty. You know, and it's just this troubling thing going on. And he's like, okay, he's like, fine, I'll make lunch for myself. You know, and it turns out Kagura eats it, and it's just like this kid's talking to him like, you know, you're being a pretty troubling to this girl Izumi-san. You know, so he gets kind of bummed out over it. His mom's just like, oh, I'll make you a bento, and you know, he's just saying like, I don't want it. You know, he has like this kid fit here, and then it gets like real wholesome at the end as we find out like this kid doesn't have a mom, and so she has to make lunch, this and that, and becomes this lesson for Seita. And all this stuff. So it gets, you know, another wholesome ending as well. It was cool.
You had another one shot right after.
Yeah, and this right here, this next chapter is basically summarizes what Hasegawa is for the series. And yeah, I mean there were some funny parts here and there, but overall I'm just like, I'm kind of tired of this trend with Hasegawa.
Why does this hitman look like Space Dandy though?
Oh god, he really does, huh? Yeah, so basically Hasegawa's trying to kill himself, but there's a hitman on there, on the balcony. It's kind of like a cliche kind of thing.
And then there's another hitman on the other side of the balcony.
Yeah, and they're having a duel, and like there's like this deep
standoff.
Yeah, and then there's like this deep backstory going on with these characters. Turns out like they're siblings that got sold into the slave trade and all this crazy stuff going on, you know. And meanwhile,
it all started because Hasegawa was just like, I'm tired of my life, I'm gonna kill myself. And the dude's just like, jump. Don't jump. You're gonna be in my way if you do.
Yeah. And then, you know, that's the whole thing on Hasegawa's mind was just like, I just want to die.
He can't even die.
Yeah, so he finally jumps off the building at the end to try to save this hitman's sister, who was the other hitman. He gets saved and he's like, I just couldn't die. Like, why can't I like, he starts just screaming, like, why can't I die? You know, kind of thing. Like, it's like so ridiculous.
And then at the end, like, he shoots like a knife or something.
He shoots like some kind of, like an arrow, like a bolt, basically.
Yeah. He's still alive because he grabs like the loose end of his shirt jacket.
Yeah.
He's on the building. He's like, I couldn't die.
Yeah, so that's the annual checkup on Hasegawa's life.
The annual checkup. Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
This next arc. I forced myself to watch this one.
Yeah, this one I wasn't really feeling it as well. Starring Otsuu, if you remember, she's the idol with the hit song, something something mother, and like just ridiculous lyrics in her music. But nevertheless, she's super popular. Gintoki's like, isn't she getting less popular nowadays? Because like idol groups,
other idols.
Well, idol groups are more of a thing, and it's what can one idol do by herself? It can only go so far, kind of thing. And here comes this agent and recruits Kagura, and it turns out like, oh, they're actually looking for somebody for Otsuu to perform with, to create like this new duo, to try to get keep the interest high on her end, kind of thing. And so they pick Kagura, and Gintoki's like, oh, that means a paycheck. Oh, yeah, yes, I'm the producer, Sakata-san. And then so they're trying to figure out these names for the bands for this duo, and it gets like super weird. The name was, what the hell did he say it was? Oh, Snot Diamond Z48 was the name of the duo here. And then, like, there's a bunch of, like, just references to other bands, was it, like, 90s rock bands and all that.
Again, I'm sorry, I just didn't feel this arc.
No, I really didn't feel it either. And then Taechan shows up, talks about, like, yeah, you need a back band, because those are the ones you can't trust. And, it's starring Kyubei, Tsukuyo, and Sakchan. Like, they're this, they're called Diamond Perfume, DP, as it's abbreviated. And they're just like, yeah, we're here, and we're ready to overshadow Otsuu-san. It's like, wait, what's going on? It just, I don't know, it's like, it's so long. It's like,
it drags on.
Yeah, it's like 4 chapters. And
one of my least favorite arcs.
Yeah, I
did watch it, but I don't even want to talk about this arc.
Well, to get into it, yeah. So they're getting ready to debut this stuff going on, and while this is happening here, it's actually 5 chapters long.
Oh, that was 3 episodes for me.
Jeez, yeah. So yeah, they're getting to the training and stuff, and it gets to like this shitty like business about like idols taking advantage of the popularity of idols just to make fast cash kind of thing going on with Gintoki. Yeah. Selling like these pillows, and then this group called the Galactic Idol Special Unit shows up, and like the most popular idols in the galaxy. And basically what they do is they go to planets and they find the most popular idol and basically not really shun them, but like depopularize them, and so that way they're number 1 on that planet as well. And then it turns into this challenge to where it's just like, okay, well, let's do this contest. Whoever wins debuts their new song, and whoever loses has to retire, kind of thing. And they're all like cute looking idols, as idols are, but it turns out like they're just wearing these antennas that change their appearance and hypnotizes people and all this kind of stuff. And then it ends with like Shinpachi, because Otsu's getting depressed this whole time because she no longer has her supporters, and Shinpachi is just like, no, don't worry, like we'll always be here for you, and then gives Otsuu back her confidence, and that helps them win this contest that happened here. Just super weird, man. It's
not the best one.
Yeah, when I was reading it, and I was like, God, like there's just so much dialogue here. I don't want to continue reading this. Yeah.
I'm looking on your Instagram right now through like that you posted for Gintama. That Reinhardt in the school uniform. Did you read more arcs after that?
Nope, that was the last arc I read for this chunk. Yeah, I just kind of want to end it on a big one. So
you're going into like one-off territory.
I mean, that's just that's the natural nature for Gintama. It's sort of just like story of the week.
Basically, yeah, like you do have the little mini arcs.
Yeah, I can appreciate the main, like when we get these like chunks of actual story when it comes to these characters. But yeah, the one thing I just wish Gintama had is an overarching story. Like, what is Gintama about? And it's really just the lives of Gintoki and his friends, basically, is all it is.
There's another arc where, basically, it's a big reference to Love-Ru.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, but it's called Ho Love-Ru.
Oh, of course. So yeah, that was these chapters of Gintama. It's kind of just meh at this point. But again, like, yeah, this series has been going on for 9 years at this point, where we're at now. So that's, when you have 9 years of just things happening, sometimes it can just be pretty meh for arcs.
I'm just looking into what chapters, the next episode, what chapters we're going to go into?
Yeah, so next episode, the chapters should be 450 to probably around like 500, depending what the last arc ends on. And I will say one thing I do appreciate, though, with Sorachi is that he's created this large cast of characters, even if they have only had one chapter apiece, every now and then he will bring them back. So that's pretty cool. Like the blacksmith character, I thought we would never see her again, but we saw her 2 times after her chapter. So that was cool.
Yeah, that's it for our Gintama podcast. Short one, but still, we got a good amount.
Yeah, so as we'll be catching back up, so the series, making sure it's coming out. It'll be coming out every other week, as I mentioned on another episode. Before this one, we'll be alternating with Gintama here, and then me catching up to other mangas that I've reviewed before. So, yeah, be on the lookout for those episodes. They'll be dropping, I guess, the usual time, Fridays. And if you want to stay updated, remember that's at Unversed Podcast. To stay caught up on the latest episodes. And you can email us at unversedpodcast@gmail.com. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, we would love to talk about it on the show. Are you guys reading Gintama? What are you guys' thoughts? We'd like to hear about that. Because I don't know how popular Gintama is in the West. Do you know that? Do you know, Grant?
Right now, Gintama, the popularity, it's a sleeper hit. You have the people that are like really into it. It's also considered like one of the best written. It's actually like, if you look on my anime list, it's like one of the top 15 animes.
Oh, really?
Website. Yeah.
Wow.
Let's see. But unfortunately, it's not getting popular. I wish it was more popular, but I understand why it's not. Not many people know about Gintama. You'll see like Gintama cosplays at like Anime Expo, but they're just regular Gintokis. That's all I've seen so far.
Yeah, I don't think I ever really heard of Gintama until you started watching it.
It's ranked number 13 on the website.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, ranked number 13, popularity number 98. Yeah, I wish it was more popular, but at the same time, I'm kind of glad it is. Like, you can't really find a Gintama fandom.
Yeah. I mean, it is like
it's overshadowed by One Piece, Naruto, and the others.
Yeah, well, I think it's safe to say if you look at the rankings, because Shonen Jump, they have with every issue you buy, you can rank the chapters, and then that's pretty much how the editors go by it to see what's popular and what they should cancel every quarter, So I think it's safe to say that Gintama was in the bottom half of that ranking for a really long time up to its end in Shonen Jump. Yeah.
So if you go to my anime list, if you guys don't know what that is, it's the website where you can add what anime you've watched. So like it's basically Metacritic for anime. If you go to top anime series, this is updated twice a day. Number 1 is Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. 2 is Steins Gate. 3 is Hunter x Hunter. 4 is Kimi no Nawa, the movie, Your Name. 5th is Shingeki no Kyojin Season 3 Part 2 specifically. 6 is Gintama. 7th is Legend of the Galactic Heroes. 8th is Gintama again. 9 is Koi no Katachi. The 10th one is Three Gatsu no Lions second series. 11 is Clanad. 12 is Gintama again. 13 is Gintama again. 14 is the second Gintama movie. And 15 is Gintama again. So Gintama's on there like 6 times, but they represent different seasons. So like the highest rated one, Gintama, which is the 6th one, 51 episodes. It was April 2015 to March 2016. What I've noticed too about each new season of Gintama, there's always something different with the title. So at the end, the A has a little circle at the top right, like the Fahrenheit Celsius. It has that. The 8th place one has an apostrophe after the A. The 11th one is the apostrophe after the A, but it says in chosen. And then 13th, there's nothing. It's just the regular name. And the 15th one is a period at the end. They separate the seasons.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the rankings from 2 years ago for Jump. I think that was the last time Gintama was weekly. Yeah, they range from 14 to 16 chapters of manga per issue. And Gintama's basically in the bottom half most of the time. It was number 1 for one issue though.
You really got to get into it though for Gintama. Enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, like I've said before, it is sort of like this really is a manga for businessmen. Like after a long day of work, they go eat their ramen, they drink their their tall Stein glass of like Sapporo.
Or, if like they're trying to go to work, on the way there, they just read a chapter. Yeah, that's it. It's like that.
Well, I could picture them like after work because like this has like old man humor in it that they would appreciate type of deal.
Yeah.
After working, I don't know, 18 hours straight and getting 4 hours of sleep.
Yeah, exactly. If they're not sleeping on the street, they're reading Gintama.
Yeah, pretty much.
So yeah, guys, we are slowly but surely getting to the end of Gintama here.
Don't worry, we only have 300 chapters.
Yeah, so that'll be about like 6 more episodes.
Oh, you're gonna stop where I'm at.
Oh, in the anime?
The anime never came out this year.
All right, guys. While we wait for the next episode, be sure to swing by Marvel Talk as well. There's new episodes there. Good times. Again, thank you for listening. And until next time, we'll just sit back and listen to some music.
Depression is gripping a pistol. Resting my teeth in the pistol. Fucking on a pistol. Light trigger, it's a lit fuse. Suspending the hidden in this room. What's wrong? I'ma lie soon. Inside, I'ma die you. Would've probably never asked. Suicide of a typecast. Live first and get dead last. Sunset, I'ma set back. Set fire, I'm a bit wide. I'm too tired, I can unpack. Missed call, I can call back. I can call back, I can call back. It's my bro if you pick up. Nigga just sent the song back. But my ex off the contact. Had a baby, stillborn, he's a gone dad. No shit, but I speak facts. All niggas, hit ghosts. No pasta, I need roast. Full meal, cheap broke. Too sad, I can find hope. Might kill any lead boats. Might swim on the airwaves, like a kiss head in a melt mode. Ice scripture with a fit poise. Wet floor with a slick voice. Catfish, I don't play coy. As an old soul, I don't need joy. Oi, something to nothing I'm grinding. Nothing to something I'm finding. Something that's nothing in my dreams. Nothing to something in my head. Something to nothing I'm grinding. Nothing to something I'm finding. Something that's nothing in my dreams. Nothing to something in my head. Something to nothing I'm grinding. Nothing to something I'm finding. Something that's nothing in my dreams. Nothing to something in my head. Something to nothing I'm grinding. Nothing to something I'm finding. Something that's nothing in my dreams. Nothing to something in my head. Nope, I'm in Brooklyn. Thick girl with a sad man.